Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we have a real ball buster for you today.
What a start.
We can tell there's going to be fireworks. If you like the Mortal Kombat episode from last season, where there was conflict, there was little resolution, this is the episode for you.
Well, don't spoil it. I'm not ready to divulge everything yet.
And I'll be honest, I don't really know what this means, but Rach just goes, oh, we've got some things to talk about. And I kind of had a sense while we were watching the movie because she was not laughing as much as I was. And I had like a constant smile on my face. And I looked over at her a couple times and she like just was kind of neutral. And then she'd grab her phone to write something down. And you just could tell like, uh-oh. It's honestly how I felt you were going to be when we watched Double Dragon. Oh. But you love that movie.
That was so fun.
Yeah.
That was a joyride.
So this is wild. And I can't wait to get into it.
Well,
we watched the movie, Rach.
The Goonies.
We watched Goonies this week.
Is it just Goonies or The Goonies?
I just always call it Goonies, but it's called The Goonies.
The Goonies.
Rach, can you tell us a little bit? Oh, wait. I want to get into this before we get into Goonies.
Oh, we have some fact checks from last week?
Well, not fact checks.
Okay.
But when we mentioned it in the Can't Hardly Wait episode, I mentioned Trojan War.
Yes, that movie with Jennifer Love Hewitt.
Yep.
Hewitt in it.
And the guy who plays Eric in Boy Meets World, the brother.
Yep.
It is a truly horrible movie, and no one should watch it. It's horrible. So it's more of a warning to everybody. Like, I went back and rewatched it. It is god-awful. It's trash. In this movie, and I told you about this already, Jennifer Love Hewitt is regarded as, like, this hideous creature.
Oh, girl, she has a ponytail. Oh, her nasty overalls.
Oh, my gosh. She's wearing, like, a hoodie and has a ponytail. She's so ugly.
Oh, glasses, gross.
There's two other friends. She's in love with the Eric character, and then they have two other friends who are trying to hook up with girls, and they're, like, failing miserably. One of them is Red, I think is his name, off that 70s show, the one who's high all the time. You know what I'm talking about? Maybe his name's not Red.
Red is the dad's
name. Red's the dad. You know what I'm talking about, though?
Fez?
No, he's the one, he's like always high. He's
with the curly hair.
Yeah, yep. So he's one of them. And they're trying to hook up with people all the time, and they don't notice Jennifer Love Hewitt, who's like their best friend, who's right next to them the whole time, and neither one of them tries to make a play on her. It was just silly. She was at a party in one scene, Rach, and nobody talked to her.
How unbelievable is that? It's like she just got broke up with or something, like in Can't Hardly Wait when no one would talk to her and everyone just stared at her.
Well, except for her brother-in-law or her stepbrother who tried to kiss her. We never talked about that in that movie.
It wasn't her stepbrother, it was her cousin.
Oh, yeah, it was her cousin.
It was
second cousin through
marriage.
marriage.
It wasn't her brother.
Yeah, that's true.
That's
it wasn't
very
Clueless.
Weird.
That's another movie we should do.
That's different. We should do Clueless.
Yeah, but we never even mentioned that in the Can't Hardly Wait episode. We never talked about the second cousin trying to kiss you.
So much. Yeah, the old second cousin trying to kiss you bit.
Been there, done that.
Tale as old as time. No, I don't know that it warranted. There was so much to talk about.
There
that
truly
it just kind of felt like meh.
yeah, it's wild when that's a secondary plot line that you don't even touch on in the podcast. Yeah, that was a crazy one. We've had fun with these little throwbacks.
This has been enjoyable. I will enjoy going back to our format where we introduce something to each other because it's always fun to do something new and to hear your opinion right away when it's fresh. But there is also something very nostalgic about dipping back into the past and revisiting some of these faves.
For sure. Well, let's get into Goonies. Let's talk about dipping back into that old fave of both of ours.
Yes.
Rach, can you give us the plot line to Goonies?
Yes, as I will.
Wait. Why you're taking so long on this already?
Well, I want to do it like concisely because it's a little tricky. So, family is in trouble. They're going to lose their house. Dad is works in a museum, but he wasn't pulling the money in for some reason.
Dad, by the way, has the cutest of bow ties. He's a pretty good-looking guy, but they give him a bow tie to show that he's not super cool.
No, he works in a museum. He better put a bow tie on.
Yeah, what a nerd.
Sure. Yep, easy. a bunch of friends end up finding this pirate's treasure map in their attic, and they think that this is the way to save their house and save their neighborhood from sudden destruction. So they follow it, and it leads them on an adventure underneath the town of somewhere in Astoria, Oregon. And along the way, they meet some criminals. There's a family of criminals.
The Fratelli family.
The Fratelli
Italians.
family. Ugh.
Being Italian,
Mob
those
fam.
dirty Italians.
Oh, jeez.
I could say it. They're my people.
I don't think that's okay still. And and then it's a kids movie, so it's kids. I'm gonna put air quotes on kids movie.
Yeah,
it's a kids movie.
I think it's a movie with kids, not a kids movie.
There you go.
Kind of like Stand by Me. Like that is not a kids movie. That's a movie with kids in it. That's for adults though.
Yeah.
Like, and I think this one's a little more kiddie than that one, but it's similar.
For sure.
It's along the similar
it's
lines.
Super kiddie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they have the stupid sound effects at certain points.
I
and
mean,
stuff,
it's so slapsticky.
Mhm.
So I don't know who that's for. It's for 10 and under for sure.
Yeah.
From that set of humor, or your husband who's 33. One of the two. Either or.
Freshly turned. When I was 32, it was okay, but now I'm 33 and I'm supposed to have higher class humor? I don't understand. Rach, when was the first time that you saw this movie?
Okay, so this is a part of the problem.
Okay.
The first time I saw this film, I was in college.
Oh.
So
Undergrad?
Yep,
Okay.
undergrad. I was trying to remember when it was, and I think this is a case where I had shared with my roommates at the time that I had not seen this movie, and so we watched it together
You got
so
super
that I could
wasted
see it.
and watched it.
No, I was sober for sure.
Oh, okay.
Because I remember it pretty well. And since then, I've only seen it maybe a few times, like on TV, but just like clips of it, never the whole thing through again. So I just need to put that out there to preface everything I'm about to say is I did not see this when I should have seen this.
So you probably saw this when you were at least 20 years old.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dude, that is so mind-blowing to me.
Uh-huh.
I probably saw this movie for the first time when I was like 4.
Oh, yeah.
I was so
Sure.
little, even though it has so many S words in it. It's out of this world.
It really
I
has
saw
some really bad
Yeah, for
language in
sure,
it.
for
For
sure.
PG, it's not a PG movie
And
anymore.
Yeah, and it used to be on like I think TBS and TNT all the time
Yeah.
too, which I'm sure they edited that
Yeah.
out. But still, like, it's presented very, very much for everyone. And I watch this movie all the time.
Yep.
I feel like I say this every time we watch a movie. I'm like, this was right up there. I watched this and Homeward Bound and Three Ninjas and Aladdin. But this is true. Like, this movie was in that catalog that I would just watch on repeat. I've probably
understand.
seen this movie over 20 times.
Wow.
That many times,
This
Rach.
is your League of Their Own.
Yeah.
Or your Tommy Boy.
Yeah,
I also watched
gosh.
that one a lot.
I saw Tommy Boy quite a bit as well.
Yeah.
But, like, not any more than maybe 8 times.
No,
How many times did you see Tommy Boy?
So many times that we broke the VHS.
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy.
At my grandma's house again.
Oh, wait, and we just talked about this last week, but I don't remember your number. For A League of Their Own, how many times did you say
I
you'd
mean,
seen it?
I said 30, but then I logistically thought about that. Like, no, I think that's a bit of an overshot. So I'll bring it down to 15.
15 times.
15 to 20.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think
Still,
that's
a lot.
legit. I think
Okay.
that's legit.
All right. Well, that is just bonkers. This movie was so ingrained in me as a young man, as a young boy, that my dad knew that I loved this movie so much. Have I ever told you this story? I don't know if I ever have.
I'm so excited.
So I was so crazy about treasure and pirates and adventures and so into this movie that my dad went to like a consignment shop, or it was like a little pawn shop.
Uh-huh.
He bought this little map, and it was of the 13 colonies, and it was like made out of this weird like aluminum tin thing, like, but it wasn't like tin foil. It wasn't that thin.
Okay.
It was thicker than that, but it was this weird parchment, weird paper that was like a mixture of paper and tin.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it sounds really weird. It's hard to describe.
This is hard to understand.
Then he took it and he wrote on the back of it. He wrote like a map. And it was of our landmarks that were in our backyard. And I'm not even kidding you. Then he went back to the pawn shop, or the place, and he had them have it. He kept it there, and he put it in a frame, and he had them keep it. He took me into the shop.
What?
He goes, "Oh, Ty, look at this. This is pretty cool. I think we should buy this." And I, being like 5 or 6 years old, I think I was 5 at the time, I was like, "Oh, that sounds awesome."
Yeah.
bought the map. We get it home, and my dad's like, "Oh, well, this is weird. The knob and the frame is broken or whatever," and it like fell open, and there was a map on the back.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, "What is this?" And my dad's like, "What is that? That's weird." And in it had all these different landmarks from our backyard. So like we have this sun statue that sits on the back of our fence, right? We have the tree that's in the backyard. We used to have this little fence swing. We did a little skit on that at one point. So like we had all these little landmarks, the slide and everything. And it had all these things on there, and it showed you where to go and how many paces to walk and everything, which is something they do in the movie. Remember, they count the steps.
Yeah.
So it was so well thought out. And it took me to my mom's flower garden where there was a little patch that flowers weren't at. And it said that there was like treasure there. It showed like a little treasure box. And so I followed the map around the yard and got to that spot. And then my dad handed me some like digging tools. And I dug up this little tin it was like this round tin that looks like it was probably supposed to be from the late 1800s, but I think it was probably just from like the 1950s and pretending to be that. For sure. And then I open it up, and there are all these marbles inside.
No.
It was incredible.
That's so great.
Yes.
What an awesome story. What an awesome dad.
I know. It had to be so much work to do all this.
How fun.
But it's something I will never forget. Oh. And like I want to do that for my kids and just like, and so Goonies takes me right back to that time of all the work that my dad did for me to like do something that cool. Like that is grade A primo dad. It was awesome.
That just makes all of the future conversation we're going to have all the more painful. I'm so sorry. That is so sweet.
I'm also sorry that nobody has done that for you, and I will start leaving you treasure maps now.
Yeah, it's like scavenger hunts, which I love.
Yeah, we've done a lot of scavenger hunts in our day.
Yeah.
But I'm going to start doing the treasure maps, only I'm going to have you dig up some of the bushes that I don't like as much in the yard. And so it's twofold. You'll get a present, but at the same time, you'll be getting rid of some of the plants I'm not crazy about. So that's how we'll do it.
Perfect.
Well, let's get into the movie a little bit.
Okay.
So the director of this movie, his name is Richard Donner, and there are other movies that are alluded to in this flick. Can you think of one of them? And he directed one of the ones that are alluded to, whether it's through costuming or the exact mentioning. There's something that happens.
Other movies?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a pirate movie going on at one point.
Yeah,
and
the old Errol Flynn film.
Sure. Boy, I'm blank right now.
When Sloth rips open his shirt.
Should we explain who Sloth is?
Oh, sure. We most certainly can.
I know most people have seen this movie, but just I don't know that I did a good job last time of like explaining what was happening in my movie. So let's go back.
For the League of Their Own?
Yeah. So let's just break it down.
Okay. So the bad guys, the Fratelli family.
Yes.
They have a brother or a son, depending on it. There's Mama Fratelli and there's the two goon boys. And then they have another boy who's been trapped in this room, and they tie him up, chain him to the wall.
Yeah, he's got physical deformities, pieces, and and his name is Sloth.
They call him Sloth.
That's what you call a man who's deformed, I guess.
Yep.
Let us stand and pardons. And now for the final crowning touch to this cake. Take about a spoon of...
He's kind of like, think about Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It's a similar like concept to that. Yep. And so Sloth rips open his shirt at one point in the movie, and what shirt is he wearing?
It's a Superman shirt.
Yep, and you hear the Superman theme because Richard Donner directed Superman.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I should have guessed that. I was actually thinking about that.
Hey, that's all right.
Darn it.
Hey, I'll give you another one. We'll give you another one.
All right.
The screenplay was written by a guy named Chris Columbus, not Christopher Columbus.
Not to be confused with old Christopher Columbus, who...
But maybe an ancestor who also came over and found treasure from the Aztecs. So Chris Columbus wrote a screenplay that's also mentioned in this movie. There's a moment in the movie where Chunk, who is one of the boys, he's a little fat boy.
He's my favorite.
Oh, awesome.
Chunk is
We're going to
my
get into some
favorite.
Chunk info
All right.
in a little bit. It's going to be fun.
Okay, good.
So Chunk calls the sheriff. And the sheriff goes, "Oh, this is like your pranks that you always give me you always say this crazy stuff." And what is one of the things that he mentions?
Yes, when he's like basically telling Chunk that you're the boy who cried wolf. Stop calling me about these crazy things. He talks about, and those creatures that you put water on them after midnight, and
they multiply.
They multiply.
Little green creatures.
Yeah, little gremlins throw there.
Yep.
That was fun.
So that's Chris Columbus. He wrote
okay.
Gremlins.
Very
and
good.
so a lot of people are like, this takes place in the same universe as Gremlins.
Same
I don't know if we can go that
universe.
far. I think we can just say like, they've seen Gremlins.
Oh man, all the fanfic. It's
Yeah.
exciting.
Oh, super exciting.
Oh jeez.
And then the executive producer was none other than Steven Spielberg.
Wow, really?
Yep. So Steven
Executive
Spielberg was the executive
produce.
producer.
I could see that in parts, like the majesty of a lot of it. It had a lot of like Indiana Jones meets.
Oh, dude, that's what so many of the reviews are. Like Indiana
For
Jones,
kids.
Indiana Jones for kids. That's like
Yeah.
almost all of them
With really
say.
big potty mouths.
Kids in the 80s, man, they were mouthy.
They were. All kids are mouthy too, which is why I appreciate other kids shows now, like Stranger Things, and
yep.
like they when you're kids, like you curse around each other because
sure.
you're just trying it out,
Yep.
you know. So
It-
that's very true to being a kid.
We know it was in the fall.
Except me, I never cursed.
Yeah, you were such a good
No,
kid.
I was an angel.
Yeah,
Go
for
on.
sure. Oh, but we know I cursed. I got kicked off AOL.
Oh yeah,
Remember you got mail episode.
That's right. You got kicked off AOL.
I know a bunch of cuss words. I'm going to chat rooms to use them right now. Mom and Dad are asleep. Boom, 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 boom.
He said what?
Oh my gosh, if they would have actually, I would have loved it if the AOL representative would have said out loud exactly what I said, and my parents would have just like had me listen to it because it would be the most embarrassing thing in the world.
It's so great.
Woo! But anyways, so how old do you think these kids were? This was in the fall. They mentioned that a couple times.
Okay. Like what grade are they
What
in?
grade are they in?
I think they are in 5th grade.
I think they're way older than that.
Oh, you think they're older than that?
I think they're in 8th
Well,
grade.
some of them are.
I feel like they're in 8th grade. They seem like 13-year-olds to me.
No. Wait. Did someone talk about being 13?
I don't know. I mean,
Hold on a second. What?
there's
I
not
thought
a
there was
huge height gap between them and the high schoolers. There is a height gap, but not that huge.
Yeah.
Maybe 7th grade. I'd
Yeah,
give you
I'd
7th
say
grade.
7th grade.
Definitely not 5th or 6th. That's too
Right.
little.
You don't know. You
Those
don't
kids,
work at an elementary.
6th graders are babies. When I was teaching middle school.
These kids are babies.
No, these kids are older than that. There are some of my more mouthy
You're right. They
7th grade
probably-
kids and 8th grade kids that I
6th or
taught.
7th grade, I'll give you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
I
they're,
see it.
they're my favorite students actually. Like I could just see me teaching the Goonies, and we would have such a great time.
Something you pictured
Yeah.
many times.
Do you think any of the Goonies would be in your office for social skills classes or anything? Or...
I mean, Mouth would probably get in trouble
Oh,
for
for
a
sure.
lot of things that he would just run away and say.
Yeah,
wasn't
Mouth is
that-
Corey Feldman, by the way. That's probably all you need to know about that character.
Yeah, I'd have to explain to his teachers like he just doesn't stop before he
Doesn't
thinks.
self-regulate.
Like, let's just take a breath. Everyone take
a breath, Mouth.
You
Use
too,
the
Mouth.
mouth. So speaking of the kids,
Yeah.
Sean Astin, this is his film debut.
I thought it would probably be a lot of their debuts since
Yeah,
they're like probably 12.
You are correct. It is a lot of their
Yes.
debuts. His
Yes.
mom, though, do you know who his mom was?
No.
She was Patty Duke.
Patty Duke.
Patty Duke was the original Helen Keller in The Miracle Worker.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
which I've never seen. They watched it the day that I was gone.
Yeah, I feel like I have
in class.
seen it, but it's been a long time. I didn't see it when I was from a teacher standpoint, but I think I have seen it at school when I was a kid.
That's one thing. A lot of these kids, they're all sons and daughters of really famous people, which always kind of infuriates me a little bit because it's
Sure.
like my parents, just because my parents weren't famous doesn't mean I should get to do sweet movies like the Goonies. So Astin, he's done a lot of like supporting roles after this, leading up to his big break after the Goonies is the movie Rudy. Have you ever seen Rudy?
I have not.
Do you know what Rudy's about?
No.
It's a football movie.
Oh, okay.
Where
I was
it's-
going to say sports.
Yep,
I was
it's
thinking
on our
baseball.
list, and I never knew if you
Is it?
really knew it, and this just confirms that I was waiting for this moment, and so now Rudy is on the list. I don't know if we'll get to it this season, but definitely in the next couple.
All right.
Yeah. Speaking of another acting debut, Joshua Brolin.
This is a debut for
This
him.
is his debut, and so he's older, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know anything about his famous parents?
No, but I think he's real cute in this. He gives me Josh Hartnett vibes in this.
Dude, that's my next question. Is Josh
does he
Brolin?
look like
no,
Josh Hartnett?
no, it's not. But that's amazing. But it is Josh Brolin your type in this movie?
Yeah, Yeah, I think so.
So Josh Brolin plays the muscly older brother, if you guys don't know. He's always working out, but he's a good older brother, though.
He's not like a jock jerk.
No.
Muscly kind of.
Yeah, I mean, he'll like beat up on his brother a little bit, but he loves him and he like is really there for him at times.
He's spending so much time with his brother and his friends. In fact,
Yep.
it makes me think like, do you have any friends?
Well, I don't think he does have very many friends.
It's sad.
Yep. I think he's like the cool guy who doesn't have many friends is what I always kind of got from him. So Josh Brolin is your type.
Yeah, I'd say in this movie.
His jawline, even as like a, I mean, jaws don't really change as you get older, so I shouldn't say like, in high school, man, he had quite the jawline.
I think it can get more distinct though when you get older and more filled out. But yeah, even now you can just see like, oh, you're gonna be quite the man.
Yeah, and he's a stud. His stepmom is none other than Barbara Streisand.
What?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah,
Neat.
and his dad was almost James Bond in the early 80s. He actually was cast because Roger Moore, who's like the second most famous James Bond to Sean Connery, he stepped away. Okay. And so his dad got cast. This was his dad's big breakout. He'd only played small stuff before this. He was set to play James Bond. And then Roger Moore came back. And he was like, oh, never mind. I'm not going to retire from the role. I'm going to keep going, actually.
Nice.
And so he got kicked out of the role.
Oh.
So that was like his big break. So he was almost the son to James Bond.
That would have been very fitting. And then he probably would have stepped right into it, don't you think, as he got older?
Yeah, probably.
What could have been?
Yeah, they could have just done a father-son combo.
That
just passed it off.
would be extra cool.
That would be cool. Is he British? Brolin?
Who? No.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
So his dad was going to be maybe an American James Bond?
Or just fake the accent.
Yeah.
Did you know that a lot of people fake those?
No, I didn't. Are you saying that there's British people who are playing American people all the time?
And vice versa.
That's crazy. I don't believe it. Actually, I don't really see it a lot the opposite way. But
No, not really. Not well, anyways.
So his dad was going to be in a movie called Octopussy.
Oh, God.
What's the movie Octopussy about, Rach?
Jesus.
I love how it's becoming more and more like, don't ask me this one.
Oh, well, I know that's a 007 movie.
Yeah, I didn't make it up.
No, you didn't make that
it's
unfortunate name up. I think it's about, I'm just going to start throwing out things. It's about a submarine that is named that unfortunate name, which I'm not going to say anymore. And, yeah, it just follows, 007 and his little adventures with cool sports cars, and maybe they go underwater, maybe they don't.
I don't remember. They might.
Maybe there's killer piranhas in it. I don't know. It's they all blend a little bit.
I actually feel like there is something in that movie. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I feel like there is like a trap thing that happens, and I don't know if it's animals or what it is, but yeah, he's like gonna get dipped into something. But Octopussy actually plays the girl the Bond girl. That's the name of the girl.
I figured.
Yeah.
What a
so
name.
it's lamer than you think. Hey, do you have any good like Bond title names? Like, now is the time
to die.
The fire happens on your watch.
Kill me once, shame on you. Kill me twice.
This is a longer title. I like it. I like it.
I don't know. Bond movies.
Yeah. I feel like if you just sit down and you think about it, you can pretty much just throw words together and make a Bond title.
For sure.
The cupboard's always bare. All right. Let's get into some more of the characters. So you mentioned Chunk earlier.
Yes.
So Chunk is the funny fat friend.
Yeah.
And he's played by a guy named Jeff Cohen. And Jeff Cohen actually hated being the fat kid in the movie.
Aww.
He did not enjoy playing that role.
Well, I'll be honest, his character kind of gets left behind. So all the Goonies go off on this adventure, and he ends up getting stuck back with Sloth, and he saves the day, which is great, but he doesn't get to be in all the fun scenes with them in the caves and, on the pirate ship and all that adventure piece. So he comes later. So
no, what I'll say is, when we get to who Sloth is, I think you're going to be like, oh, that's pretty cool. So I think Chunk didn't get a super bad part of the deal.
Sure. Not a bad break.
Yeah, yep. But you mentioned Chunk was your favorite out of all the kiddos?
He just had a lot of my favorite scenes. Like when he's getting tortured by the Finelli family and he's like listing off like, okay, I'll tell you everything. In 3rd grade, I cheated on a history test. And he just like walks through all of it. And I think What's his last one? That
Oh
he
my
says
gosh,
is my
it's
favorite?
amazing. You want me to?
I think we should let it play. We should grab this clip, but it's something about like how he like makes fake throw up noises at a theater and then like throws food on people, and then all of the people start puking on each other. He'll describe it in much better terms than I can.
But the worst thing I ever done, I mixed up all this fake puke at home, and then I went to this movie theater, hid the puke in my jacket, climbed up to the balcony, and then I made a noise like this. And then I dumped it over the side. And all the people in the audience, then this was horrible. All the people started getting sick and throwing up all over each other. I never felt so bad in my entire life.
I'm beginning to like this kid, Mom.
So an amazing quote.
Love it.
Amazing
Oh,
quote.
it's amazing.
Yes.
I
So
hope we found it.
I wanna tell you that I've had an experience similar to that, and I don't know if you have too.
What?
So
Wait, where you were the pranker or you were the prankee?
listen to this.
Shut up and listen to this.
This is gonna be wild. I'm on the bus.
Okay.
It's 5th or 6th grade. And my buddy, Chris Collins, we sat in the back of the bus. He was kind of a little punk, the more I think about it. Chris, if you're
Sure.
listening, I enjoyed you, but you were kind of a punk.
Well, you guys are sitting in the back of the bus. Like,
Yeah,
that is,
we're-
like, clue number one.
We're probably
My
the
eyes
bad
are on
kids.
you.
This was when we were doing our seat skipping. So I told Rach
Oh,
about this.
jeez.
We would get on top of the seats, and the bus driver was so clueless. He was a guy who was very nice. His name was Jim. I actually remember a lot of details about this. He wouldn't look in the mirror to look back at us very often. And we would be on top of the seats climbing, and you'd start at the back, and you'd see how far you could get before Jim would either say, "Get down from there," which he rarely did.
Really?
Or you would just evade him by jumping down into the seats. I got all the way to right behind Jim. No joke, the seat right behind him. My buddy Chris, this is amazing. I don't understand how the heck Jim would not notice him. He went all the way up, and he landed on the steps to go off the bus.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. This is a true story, 100%.
Okay. I
And
have
Jim,
questions.
and then he ran like off the steps and back behind, and Jim never noticed him. Or, I think, pretended not to
I
notice.
think it's the latter. I think Jim was like, 2 more minutes, 2 more blocks. God, these kids. I hate this game.
Yep.
I don't know why. I'm just slam on the brakes next time
Oh
and
my
like, teach him a
gosh.
lesson. Were there no kids on in the seats?
Oh, there were kids there.
So-
They loved it. So you'd be hiding or whatever, and they'd be
So
like
you would just,
giggling
like,
and stuff.
Plop over them and they wouldn't like be like, "Hey, ow, kick me."
No, because you would be up high enough that you were crawling on the tops that you wouldn't hit their heads or anything.
Oh, like you would just stay up. You wouldn't it
Yeah.
wouldn't be like a leapfrog up and down, up and down. It would be like
No.
up, and then when he looked, then you would go down.
You stay up on top, and actually, when he looks in the mirror, you can just kind of crouch a little bit, and you're out of his vision.
Oh my gosh.
And then you just go up like a cat, and you just keep crawling on the
this
seats.
is incredible.
Yeah, dude.
Wow.
Yes.
I would lay into a kid if I saw them
my
doing
gosh.
that. Oh my
You'd
gosh.
be dead.
We would, if I was driving, I'd stop the bus. But if I was on the bus,
Yep.
we would get off and we would, I would take you to task.
And you could get written up, and you got written up
Oh,
like
you get more than written up.
3 times, I think, that you're kicked off the bus. And so,
for
and then
sure.
I think every time you get written up, you get detention.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would have just written up kids every single time.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, back to my story. This is just a side little fun bus story.
Bus stories.
So we also had this thing where my buddy Chris, he was like, "Hey, you guys want to see me puke?" And we were in the
What?
back of the bus.
Oh,
And I
Chris.
was like, "Yeah, Chris, this will be hilarious." And so we're all hanging out back there. And Chris sticks his finger in his throat. I'd never seen anybody
no.
do this before.
Oh gosh.
Stuck his finger in his throat. And then he puked. And then I was like, oh. And then I puked. And then, no joke, 2 other people puked. There were 4 of us total that puked. All because Chris puked. And then it was like just a ricochet. Blah, 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 blah. We all just puked on the floor. And the 2 other people who puked, we had got to school. They were like, "I feel sick," and they ran off. Chris, because he was a weasel, he snuck out and pretended like nothing happened. And so I was left, and Jim was like, "Did you puke?"
You were left with all this
With all the puke. And Jim said, "I know that you're probably feeling sick, but you need to clean this up." And
he made you clean it
I
up.
had to clean up everybody's puke.
Did you puke again?
I don't think so.
I would have.
And I think about that now. I think that's unsanitary. I don't think I should have been allowed to do that.
No, you're not allowed to do that.
But
Because you have to have, like, it's like blood.
Protective
You have
gear.
to have protective gear on
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
but at the time, dude, I'm telling you guys,
This was the 90s,
late 90s was
babe.
a crazy time.
I had to clean up your own puke
I
on
cleaned
the
up
bus.
4 people's puke on the bus. But I was probably skipping seats earlier that morning, so I
gosh.
probably deserved it.
That's true.
Yep.
That sounds like good karma coming around
Yes.
for you. Oh, man.
Have you ever had one of those moments where like you see somebody puke and then you puke, or like you are opposite, or you've seen other people do that?
I mean, yeah, close, but I haven't actually puked. But yeah, there have been times, yeah, when you see people puke, for sure, the urge is there. Or like, I like dirty diapers.
Yeah,
Like those are sometimes real bad. You can get the dry heaves going.
Hey, let's see if we can make all our viewers puke now.
Oh gosh, this is gonna be terrible. Turn it down.
Oh my gosh. So Chunk, he didn't like being the fat kid.
Oh.
And he even had his iconic moment where he does the truffle shuffle.
First, you gotta do the truffle shuffle. Come on! Do it! Come on! Do it! Cut it out, Mo.
Yeah.
The truffle shuffle moment,
Truffle shuffle.
he had chicken pox.
He had chicken pox.
He had chicken pox, and he didn't want to be replaced because that was early in the movie, in the shoot schedule.
Oh no.
And
yeah,
so
'cause, like,
he came to the set because he was afraid if he was out a week that he was going to get replaced.
Oh, even as a
And he has
kid.
chicken pox, and I've seen the pictures. You can see when he lifts up his shirt, on one side, he's got like this really horrible, rashy chicken pox thing that's
my
all over the,
gosh.
like, I think it's the right or the left side of his body, just on the extreme side. And so he was a mess. And he was
And
like
they still
feeling
let
terrible
him do it?
too.
Did they know? They must have known.
I think they had to. If he lift up his shirt and
Well,
you could
yeah,
see
and
the
chicken
rashes
pox,
and
not like
stuff.
you can prevent. Like, I had chicken pox all over my face.
Yeah.
I lost part of my eyebrow to a chicken pox. It still doesn't grow.
No joke, really?
Yeah, it's on this side.
I like Rach is showing me right now, podcast listeners.
Sorry,
this
is
is
not
awesome.
fun for everyone. But yeah, over here, there's like a
Oh,
little gap.
I can kind of see it.
Kind of like grow it in there, but yeah, it's
Wow.
a little bald spot in my eyebrow.
Maybe that's why you don't have super thick eyebrows because of the chicken pox. Have you ever thought about that?
Well, I mean, my eyebrows are fine. What are you talking about? Like, they're thick
That's
enough.
why you have those super thin, invisible eyebrows.
I have good eyebrows. I like my eyebrows.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah. Shut up.
So another couple things, other things about Chunk. Chunk did a couple guest turns on TV shows, but besides that, that's all he really did in the film industry.
Yeah.
He's now an entertainment lawyer. And yeah, so his like career just kind of fizzled out after this.
Which is kind of weird because he was one of my favorite parts of this.
He
I thought
lost a
was
lot
really
of weight
good.
too.
Oh,
He looks a lot better.
maybe that was the problem.
Yeah.
People didn't remember him, or
Mm-hmm. Well, I think this is a good time for us to take our first sponsor break.
Love it.
This week is brought to you by Chunk Ice Cream. It'll make you truffle shuffle all night long. Well, that was quite the act.
Cried.
Oh my gosh. Just so everyone's aware, that was Rach doing the truffle shuffle noise, not me. Whew, and it was good. It was really good. Excellent. Let's get back to brass tacks. So, for the role of Mouth,
Yep.
both Corys, are you familiar with that? There's 2 Corys that are really closely associated with each other?
Around this time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Corey Feldman
Yep.
and Corey. Boo. Now you're gonna take away my '90s card. Hey, what?
Yeah, got it. Good job.
What did I say?
It's Haim. All I did was mouth it to her and she went, what? Haim? What? What?
Yeah, got
Yes, Corey Haim.
Yep.
Yep. So they both auditioned for Mouth, But they did not even know each other at this time.
Oh, the
And
Coreys were not squared yet.
They weren't. Yeah, they were not squared. They become kind of a dynamic duo during the Lost Boys. Have you ever heard of the Lost Boys?
I have heard of it.
You seen it?
No.
It is on our list.
Is
And
it?
I was already pretty positive. You had not
What
seen
if
it.
I lied and I was like, yeah, I've seen it.
No,
Like,
I would
no,
be like,
you haven't.
I don't believe
No,
you.
I saw it.
Yep.
I saw it.
So get ready for that. You'll see the Coreys in action later
Very
on
good.
down the road. And that will be a movie you probably will hate. So those two are going to become buddies later on. But Corey Feldman's star is really
Very
getting bright.
bright.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Friday the 13th, part 4. Huge deal.
Is that what's next for him after this?
No, I think it was
Is
before
he like
this.
12
He
during
was
that?
very little during that movie.
Yeah.
He kills Jason.
What?
Yeah. He's the one who
How?
kills Jason.
With the
and then-
lightning rod?
No,
in the
that's him
grave?
grown up.
Oh.
So, okay, let's do a little Friday the 13th
Do we
lore.
have to? I don't know that
Corey
we gotta
Feldman's
get
the one
into
who
it.
takes an axe or whatever and goes into Jason's
right.
head over and over again and kills him.
Yeah.
And then when
one
he-
would think.
And then when he grows up, that's when he has the iconic scene. Rach, do you want to explain it?
Where
You've seen it.
I believe there's like a pole lightning bolt. Well, this is when he
Yeah.
resurrects him, right?
Yeah, yep.
They stab it into the grave, and then that night a thunderstorm happens and a lightning bolt strikes it, and he's alive,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Did I
Brings it
did I
back to
leave
life.
anything out?
No, you nailed it.
Oh God, that franchise. Like, what?
Hey, that's what we should do for a season. We should watch every Friday the 13th and talk about it.
You wish. You wish.
I still want to do that remake. I think it would be great for this series. All right, let's talk about another character.
Okay.
Let's talk about Data. Data.
Data?
Data.
Yeah.
So Data was in another famous flick around this time.
Yeah.
Plays
He's
Short
been in a
Round.
couple of flicks around the 80s, right?
Yep.
Am I right on that?
Yeah, he was in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yes.
And I like to say his Mr. Jones line, but Rach informs me that it might be seen as offensive, so I will refrain.
Yeah. If you want to play it, then we just
Mr.
gotta grab
Jones.
the sound clip.
Mr. Jones.
There you go. Yeah, if you want to play it, we just gotta grab it.
But after this film, he doesn't really do anything.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's kind of just MIA after this.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I don't know what he's doing now. I should have looked into it, but he doesn't really do anything.
Okay.
Another person who she does a couple things after this, but she's pretty much kind of out of the game after this, is Carrie Green. She plays Andy.
Oh, the
Yep.
love interest of Josh Brolin.
Yup. And Sean Astin.
And Sean
and Little
Astin.
Brother.
Yes.
Yes. So,
How fun is that kiss scene?
oh my gosh, we should just get into it now.
Yeah.
Let's just talk about it.
Okay.
All right, so there's a scene in the movie where Andy is looking for Josh Brolin's character.
Yes.
And instead, Josh Brolin says to Sean Astin, like, go see what she wants. And while he's taking a pee. And then they have this iconic moment in this dark tunnel with this beautiful waterfall behind them.
Yeah, where she grabs him with her eyes closed and she kisses him, thinking it's Josh Brolin, but it's little baby Ashton.
Oh my gosh.
Aston.
I loved that scene.
Yeah.
Especially as a kid.
Oh, I'm sure.
And I was just like, that is the best
You
thing
were so girl
ever.
crazy. You're like, that's how it's gonna happen. I can't wait.
I can't wait. And then she's like, I didn't know he had braces. And like, I think there's a hole here because he was shorter.
Yeah.
I loved it.
No,
I thought it
I
was
didn't
so
catch
clever.
it the first time.
I thought it was so great. So I love the kiss. How'd
Yeah.
you feel about it?
I think it's cute. It's charming. I get why that sticks with. I mean, I remembered that from the first time I saw it, so it sticks with you. It's
Yeah.
cute.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the music in the background is just so lovely.
Yeah.
So Sloth.
Yes.
Sloth was played by a gentleman named John Matuzak. I'm probably butchering his name. And I should know it because he is a famous football player for the Raiders.
The Raiders.
Yep.
Is that how they say their name?
There's a guy, he's a
What
comment. I
is
don't remember his
that?
name. He always goes, the Raiders. That's how he says it. But he was the number 1 pick in an NFL draft. He's
Oh,
won a
wow.
couple Super Bowls. He's a big deal. He had just retired shortly before this film.
Okay.
And they brought him in. I'll be honest, I think he did a great job.
Yeah.
I don't know how you
sure.
feel about the character in general, but I think that his acting is really charming.
Yeah. Believe it or not, Sloth is not my problem with this film.
Oh,
Yeah.
I was worried
It's-
about that.
No, it's not. I mean, yeah, it's. I don't. We don't need to get like that into this, but yes, he is a character who we have allusions to when he was little. Mom dropped him on a couple of times, and that's why he's now his face is deformed, and cognitively wise, he's not at grade
100%.
level. So
Yeah.
I get that, but I think I think it's a fun character. I love that his ears wiggle.
Yeah, I know. His ears wiggle. So speaking of that, he had 5 hours worth of makeup every single day.
Sure.
And one eye and his ears were controlled by remote controls.
Mhm.
And it gave me such like a Gizmo from Gremlins type of vibe.
sure.
And yeah, and just when those ears would wiggle when he was happy, I thought it was so charming.
Yes.
It's so cute.
Sloth, you're gonna live with me now. Yeah, I'm gonna take care of you. Because I love you. Oh, I love you, Chuck. Oh, I love you, Sloth.
Cyndi Lauper
Yeah.
has a lot of songs in this movie.
She made quite a few
well,
cameos.
not a lot. I guess she only has
She
one,
has
but it plays a
just
couple
one
times.
song,
Yep.
and it plays twice all the way through, I think.
Yep.
Once through the credits, and then once in the middle of it, too, when the kids are taking off on their adventure.
Which I told you after the movie, I was like, this is why I always had like a fondness for Cyndi Lauper's music because of this movie.
Yeah.
Like I just kind of grew up like hearing her voice and things. Like
Sure.
we recently had a conversation where I think you said like Cyndi Lauper's voice isn't anything special because I mean she doesn't have like a grade A
Wow,
voice.
you're putting me on blast today. I'm already going to put myself on blast, but you are putting me out
Didn't you
there.
say that?
Tell
me how you feel about Cyndi Lauper's voice.
Oh my gosh. It's not my favorite voice, but it's a very unique voice.
Mm-hmm. She's got great range.
Yeah,
She can
I was
sing
gonna
real
say it's not
high.
that. Yeah, and she can belt like crazy.
Yeah.
But I still don't like the quality of the belt.
Oh,
if that makes sense.
I see, and I kind of dig it. It's like this
Yeah.
weird straight tone. I guess pingy is something that we've talked about
Yeah, it's a little
before,
pingy.
and she has a pinginess to her voice, but I like it. I
Yeah.
think it's good.
Do you think you could sing a little bit of the one song that plays twice in this film? Do you remember how it goes? Something close to it, maybe?
If you let me take a 2 second break and I
Nope.
can just hear it once.
I just would like you to jump into it. Well,
I know that part. That's that part. I know the name of the song. The name of the song are "Goonies Are Good Enough."
Goonies Are Good Enough? That's the name
Yep,
of the
the
song?
Goonies. It's like Goonie Love. Yeah, she says that.
What? Did she really?
I think so, or she says good love. You can never tell with her. Like, you can never. She's kind of like the Fray. You don't know what she's singing, but you like it.
Not a lot of consonants.
Yeah, that's what I love about the Fray. You just sing on a vowel the whole time.
Very
Doesn't
good.
matter what the words are. Yeah, I don't. Can
No.
you?
No. I just thought she was so pivotal for you. I just was thinking
Well, I mean,
maybe-
I like the song. I always like bop to it. It's a total bop, as the
as
kiddos
the
are
kids
saying
say,
now.
bops.
Such a bop. Yeah, and let's talk about the Fratelli family.
Okay.
So the Fratelli family, Fratelli in Italian
Yes.
means brothers,
Okay.
and they're referred to as the Fratelli brothers a few times.
Brothers.
Brothers. Get those brothers. Those two guys got cast because before the audition even started, before they even started their cold reads, they were just like kind of palling around in the audition room, and the interactions they were having with each other, the casting director and the director just like were watching it, and they were
really?
like, these two guys are perfect.
Oh, funny.
And they hadn't even read anything yet, and they were like, it's these two for sure.
That's kind
for
of cool.
sure. Yep, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, they goof around a lot. They're obviously like, oil and water or whatever. It's
The
fun.
one Fratelli brother who sings a lot,
Yeah.
he's a trained opera singer.
He
too.
has a really nice
He's got
voice.
really
I thought that
good.
I was like, ooh, that's good. Like,
Yeah.
that's not just like randomly good.
And he added that. That was not written in for him.
Oh, really?
He just would start singing like while he was waiting for things to happen, and they loved it. They're like, keep that going. That's awesome.
I love when a villain just starts singing and is just kind of like mellow, and it just kind of makes them all the more like evil.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. Villains, like, sometimes they'll just get into opera, or they'll listen to opera, usually like while they're sharpening their knife, getting ready to do something, and it's like, oh, you're an evil
For
genius.
sure. I like the singing Fratelli brother too, because I mean the other one has the toupee and has some funny bits, but the one who is the singer, who's like the buff one, who you think wouldn't be as interesting to play, he has that moment where they're listening to Chunk's stories and everybody's just kind of like shocked. The Fratelli family is like, what the hell is this kid talking about? And he's loving it.
Yeah.
He's like smiling so big and like eating up his stories like, this is great, which is lovely. Mama Fratelli was a Cornhusker.
What?
She was born in Omaha.
Oh.
Yep.
You know what's funny? When you said Cornhusker, I
She
immediately...
was at a farm.
No, I immediately went to the football team. Like, she played for the Cornhuskers?
She was our starting center on the 72 championship team.
That's amazing.
Yeah, dude,
Go
wild.
Mama Fratelli.
Mama
That's
Fratelli.
so cool.
She actually was up for Best Supporting Actress for a film right after this, I believe,
Oh.
which was Don't Throw Mama from the Train.
And that's the name of the film?
Yeah, it's a Danny DeVito movie.
Don't Throw Mama
I've seen
from the
parts of
Train.
it, but I haven't seen the whole thing.
You have? I've never
Yeah,
even
I
heard
have,
of this.
actually. Don't Throw Mama from the Train.
There it is.
It kind of reminds me of the title of another great movie, which I don't know if you've seen, which is Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead.
Oh,
Have you seen that
I've
movie?
heard of this movie, but I've not seen it.
It's, well, I always have to
Is
put
it
a
really
preface.
great? Did you love it?
I
Top
liked,
10?
I liked it when I was a kid. Even though it was for teenagers at that time. It's
Sure.
still a teen movie.
Oh, yeah.
But she actually has part of her tongue missing. And
Oh,
so how
okay.
she has that kind of weird way that
got
she says things.
A very gravelly voice.
Yeah.
But she
And she-
says, yeah. Okay.
She has like kind of a weird way of speaking, and that's because she's missing part of her tongue.
No kidding.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So fun stuff.
that's fun. Fun
Yeah.
little tidbit.
Yeah. So out of all these characters, I want to hear your opinions on like actors, characters that you liked, characters you hated. Let's get into some character stuff before I talk about like the filming and some of the set piece stuff.
I mean, I like the character like that Sean Astin plays.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey. I like Mikey. I like Chunk. As a group, I think they're fun all together. They're kids, so I think like the acting is good.
Mm-hmm.
What I'll say is it's actually when we look at like from a kids movie perspective, like kids in a kids movie, but kids in a movie about kids.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're probably one of the most accurate portrayals of what kids are like.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say for it. But I think that's also a detriment in some ways because
Mm-hmm.
it makes the pace, I know I'm getting it out of this area a little, but the pace of it is so frantic
Yep.
and so spazzy at times. I just want to be like, you guys, we need to slow down with this writing. You're all ad-libbing right now, and it's great, and there's like some gems in there, but you're all shouting all the time. I feel like I could pull like any like random clip from the movie when the kids are talking, and it would sound like this. Rah, 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 yeah, guys, rah, rah. Like that's what I heard a lot of, and so that's when I was like, whoo.
Dude, you are right on.
Yes.
I think it's part.
Oh, I know.
I think it's, but I take it as the charm of the movie.
Yes.
But
you can take it that way.
I understand your critique as well.
Mhm.
And in fact, a lot of the stuff with the filming that I'm going to talk about
Mhm.
is going to make a lot of sense
Yeah.
that go along with that
Filmed
as well.
by kids for kids. I believe it.
They brought in all kids to run the entire set.
It's adorable.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Holding the boom mic. It took 2 of them because it's heavy. And in
That's what I
fact, the kids
envisioned.
were even smaller than these kids. These were the oldest kids on the set.
Yeah.
Most of them were in grade
Like,
school.
oh man, that.
We need a pirate ship right here. We gotta get more pirate ships.
Oh no, you did it. I told you not to do it.
What?
What was that? Are you
That
trying
was
to be a
just
little
a
kid?
that was just a little kid.
I thought
we
you were.
need more gold for the pirate ships.
Oh,
Get aboard the gold,
I can
the
hear
pirate
it now.
ships.
I thought you were doing your
Oh, Data?
impression
No.
of Data. I was like, Ty, no Data
No,
impressions.
Mr. Jones.
Mr.
Jones. So the movie was, I'll just get through some stuff and then I'm going to hit this point
Okay.
just because I don't want to forget it. It was filmed in 5 months. Took them 5 months to finish it.
Okay.
And it was in Astoria, Oregon, where they shot almost the entire thing
Mm-hmm.
besides the pirate ship bit, which was on like the largest stage that Hollywood even has. So it was on this huge
yeah.
set piece
I
stage.
could see that.
But besides that, everything else was in Oregon, which is
Mhm.
really cool. I
Mhm.
love it. Film creators, when you film in the location that you're supposed to be at, I think that's awesome. I think you should always do that and get out of LA. It's a poisonous place.
Okay. Easy there.
No, it's a great place. Everybody loves it. So the kids
The kids.
were super energetic
Oh yeah.
and such little dicks is what Donner said, the guy who directed it.
Really?
He said the kids, when they were together, were nightmares.
A little mob mentality.
They were.
there.
And
Mhm.
they had to have special people hired to calm them down.
Wranglers.
Wranglers.
Mhm.
Because they would, and I mean, these were middle school kids,
Yeah.
which middle school kids are hard to tame.
Yeah.
But they would just like scatter and just like mess with stuff and break things. And like some of the things that you see in the movie, like not the breaking things, that was all
Yeah.
planned, but like they were just,
messing with so much.
exactly what you think they would be like. They were so hard to deal with, he said. And they all admit that now too. They're like, yeah, we were horrible.
Yeah.
And so a lot of those things, like with them ad-libbing and trying to talk over each other, it does give it this frenetic, energetic pacing. But it also was real because sometimes they were capturing moments that they really were doing. In the set piece, they would just say, like, go explore. And then they would capture film of it.
Yeah.
And so some of it is magic. But at the same time, I can see how it gives it an unfocused feel at the same time.
Well said. Well said, Ty. That's better than I said
it. I'm getting my masters. I told you that. Sorry, Brits. I know you don't like it when I do British dialects, but you can do Americans. So, the director Donner, he would yell to the cast because they had so many moments where they would see something crazy. He would just yell, "Big eyes, big eyes," and then they would all be like, "Big eyes!" Like, "Whoa!" He'd be like, "Big eyes over here," and so that's how he would get them to react to things. So they're kind of like dogs a little bit.
I know, like squeak, squeak, squeak. Look over here. Look up, look
up. When they filmed the One-Eye Willie speech, I told you, like, hey, listen to this speech.
One-Eyed Willie speech.
This is when Sean Astin, they're up in the attic.
Okay.
And they're finding all these things that their dad has from the museum. And it's all of this stuff about One-Eyed Willie. And Sean Astin goes in this big mythological speech about One-Eyed Willie.
Yeah, he's telling the story of it. And, like, this is how this Spanish Armada ended up in Oregon and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, quick little history lesson.
So what they did for that is Donner had met with Sean Astin earlier. And he goes, here's the story. And he told him the story just verbally. He's like, here's some things that I want to make sure you hit all these bullet points, so you need to know these. But I'm going to tell you the story in detail, like a storyteller. And he told him the entire story. And then when they got on set, he said, recite it back to me. And so he did it in his own words, and he's just recalling certain things. That's why sometimes he kind of skips around a little bit when he's telling the story. He's like, oh yeah, and then this happened too. And because he wanted it as natural as possible. And he achieved it, man. I was listening to it. I was like, this is totally like in his own vernacular. And he did not memorize like a big long passage. He was just told the story and he regurgitated it back.
That's kind of cool.
I think it's really awesome.
That is cool. What I'll say is, I think it works because you have a good actor like Sean Astin.
Sean Astin's really good as a little kid.
He's really good.
One-Eyed Willie. Yeah, he was the most famous pirate in his time. My dad told me all about him once.
Dad'll do anything to get you to go to sleep.
No. See, One-Eyed Willie stole treasure once. It was full of rubies and emeralds and diamonds. Diamonds. And then he loaded it all up onto a ship. And then they sailed away into the sunset.
He's good as an adult too, but like he made that transition well. And I'll say some kids might not have been able to rise to that challenge.
Corey Feldman.
And then there was this guy and shoot.
What was that? What was it called? The Spanish Armada or
something?
Armada?
Armada Pia.
Hey, the head of One-Eyed Willie on the pirate ship?
The physical head of the pirate?
Was real. It was a real human head.
What?
Yep.
Why?
I don't know.
Why?
But did you also wonder this? When they take the eye patch off, and you see like it almost looks like it's a blocked socket.
Yeah.
Part of me was like, well, wouldn't he still have an eye socket?
I think he was born with it was closed. I don't think he was ever born with an eye.
Oh, I thought he lost his eye like from a sword fight.
I mean,
or something.
had he lost an eye, you're right. The eye socket would have been there, but that doesn't make it any funner more fun for Sean Astin to lift the eye patch and be like, oh, regular eye. Oh, that's not all I was thinking. Yeah, so it's got to be blocked off completely with bone.
Yeah. Okay. So it's more of a birth defect than it was from battle.
That's what I'm thinking. Even though you would assume a pirate's nickname like that would be from battle, like peg leg, like obviously you got chopped off. I mean, you could have. You were born with it.
You can't be born with a peg leg.
Nope.
The wood attached
or
to
a hook. He was born with no hand.
No, I knew a guy in my elementary school who he said he came out with a hook for a hand.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, he had a little hook hand. He's like, yeah, I was born like this. What? I'm just kidding. It's not real. So that was a real head, and Richard Donner actually still has that head.
Weird.
Which I feel like he's haunted. His office is haunted.
Weird.
If he has a real human head in his office?
I know. Yeah. Why do you have human remains? Where did you get them?
And why? There's other skulls in the movie. that I don't know why you had to
Is
find
that
a real
human
one for
head?
that.
Does that really have the eye defect on it, or
But
is
couldn't
that
you
like
have done a
makeup
prop
on
one
there?
with latex and stuff, like or
I just
plaster or whatever?
So many questions about this.
So when
puzzles.
I have an idea of I want to do Hamlet within like the next couple years.
Okay.
And I'm gonna use for Yorick's head. I'm gonna do a real human head as well.
Oh.
And then we're gonna keep it.
Gross.
We're gonna keep it in my office.
Oh my gosh, our dog's gonna go crazy. We're gonna play fetch with her every day, and she's gonna go and grab it like this. You want this?
head?
This head? Human head.
Another weird thing, the prop designer, when they had the one-eyed Willie map that they find in the attic that like brings them onto this journey, they thought it didn't look dingy enough. And it was they were like minutes away from filming, and he didn't know what to do. So he sliced his hand open and he dripped his own blood all over it.
You can't make this stuff up.
I like how that was his reaction instead of, hold on just 2 seconds. I got to run outside. It's Astoria, Oregon. It's probably raining, so I can even smear mud on it, not just dirt, and just throw some dirt on
Or
it.
tea. I think that's usually how you make things look older and older is like you spill tea on it and then you let it dry and then it looks older and dingier.
He had to cut his hand and spill blood all over it.
Oh my God.
It was the only way, Rach.
What a weirdo.
So when I do my Hamlet, I'm also going to do that. I'm going to spill blood on things. This needs more blood on your costume. Come here.
This is not dingy enough.
So Spielberg actually stepped in to direct a couple of the scenes.
Oh?
He directed the wishing well scene, was one of his big ones. He also did the pipe scene where they're banging on the pipes and the pipes are going up and down and while people are drinking on the drinking fountain. He did that stuff too.
Such good times.
Yep. So
I like the wishing well scene.
I did too.
That's one of my favorite scenes, actually.
What do you think of that iconic speech of Sean Astin's?
I like that speech.
Me too.
Yeah, that's the iconic speech where he talks about like the adults, their time's up here, but down here, this is our time. Trying to convince everybody that we need to keep going and we need to see this adventure through. I think it's pretty sweet.
Don't you realize? The next time you see Sky, it'll be over another town. The next time you take a test, it'll be in some other school. Our parents, they want the best of stuff for us. But right now they gotta do what's right for them. 'Cause it's their time. Their time. Up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time down here.
So good. I love that speech. I love it. I think it's so romantic. There's so much romanticism in the words. It's poetic. It's poetry.
Poetry.
During the scene with the bats,
Yeah.
you know, like, so they think that they hear something, and Josh Brolin's getting closer. He's like, I think somebody's down there. And then he opens up this little cavern thing, or he moves this rock, and all these bats fly out. What do you think the bats were? I mean, there were some that were actually prop bats that you could see flying around their faces.
Bats,
but what are the things when stuff flies out and it hits them all in the face?
Oh, I mean, did they have CGI then? Is some of that CGI?
This is practical effects.
Practical effects. Okay.
These are practical.
What do I think that they threw out there? I think they threw black socks with tennis balls, and they just like threw
That
them.
would hurt.
Yeah, it did. Just why the kids cried out like
And they're like, this is for being little punks on set.
Yeah, did that, you little punks.
How'd you just shut up when we're filming? No, it actually they were bow ties on strings.
Oh.
Yep. And then they also took black construction paper and
Okay.
paper mache, and they shot it out of air cannons. So they did
Oh.
these string bow ties mixed with these paper mache cannon things, and that gave them that whole effect of all that
I
stuff.
mean,
flying around.
apart from like the fake ones that were just like dancing in front of their faces, which looked really, really silly. The rest of it looked pretty good. So there's that.
For sure.
Yeah, that actually looked better than the puppets.
So Corey Feldman has that moment in the movie where he has all those jewels in his mouth, which is very apt for a character named Mouth.
I really love that little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, they have to turn their jewels over to the Fratellis. They're like, give us all your pirate gold. And he's got his mouth shut and she's like, you're really quiet. They call you Mouth. And she pulls that big
Pearl
necklace out and then some other stuff.
Yep.
It's very silly.
All of that was really in his mouth at one time.
Yeah.
Yep, that was all done they were different angles, but that was done in one take.
Awesome.
Yep, pretty
That's
amazing.
good.
So Mouth and Stephanie, who plays like the other kind of mouthy girl, the friend
Yeah, the
to Josh
friend.
Brolin's girlfriend,
The friend.
they hated each other on set.
Oh, yeah.
So those two did not get along at all, and they had to kind of play opposite of each other
I
as
could
well.
see that just because where they're at, she seems very mature for her age, and
Mm-hmm.
he seems very immature. And they're a boy and a girl, and she's already older than him, so it's just exacerbated.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
I could see that where the two of them would not like each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You take no points, and I'll take 2 points. Hey, that's not fair, Mikey.
Wait, stop. You can't do this.
Why?
Because these are somebody else's wishes. They're somebody else's dreams.
Yeah, but you know what? This one right here. This was my dream, my wish. And it didn't come true. So I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back.
Hey, what'd you think of that big water slide?
I mean, it looked like a blast. When people are going down it, they're doing like cartwheels and like flips too. Like it looked like a lot of fun. I would have enjoyed it.
I've always said that Universal Studios needs to make that a
Yeah.
ride.
You've always said that?
Yes, since I didn't know about Universal Studios, but I was just like, this has to be a ride at an amusement park someday.
Yeah, a little Goonies water
It'd be
slide.
amazing.
Like, that'd be perfect. What a great theme.
even if it's on rails instead, because you wanted to make it safer or something. Like you could do it a water ride on rails, like a log
Yeah.
kind of ride. But you gotta have something. Like I just think it's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's a missed opportunity.
Ugh,
That is a real functioning water slide.
I
It was. It was made by a water park company
okay.
in the mid '80s, and
It did not look like it was carved out of rock by pirates. I'll tell you that. It did look.
how crazy would it have been if I would have told you that is not a water slide? They found that in Astoria, Oregon, in a cave. It was perfect. The water was running. It was safe. Somebody tried it, and they're like, "We found it. We
It's
found our water
amazing.
slide."
Amazing on location
Yep.
shooting.
So that was a real functioning water slide,
Mm.
and the crew would sneak in after hours with shooting, and the directors and everything, they always allowed it.
Yeah.
And they would ride this water slide over and over again, and these like little after shoot parties that,
That
would
would
happen
be
without
really
the kids.
fun.
And
That
they
would
had
be
a
fun.
blast. It was awesome.
I would have a good time.
Yep. Unfortunately, they had to take it down afterwards, and they didn't know what to do with it, so it all just
Sure.
got scrapped. Speaking of another thing, this makes me really sad. The pirate ship.
Mm-hmm.
That was a real pirate ship that they built for this movie.
Oh my gosh.
That was not CGI. That was a real
I figured
pirate
parts
ship.
of it were, but it was huge.
The whole thing was actually
my-
built.
Whoa.
Yep. And
Holy buckets.
it took 2 months to build. And the kids, when they saw it in that scene, where they're like, "Whoa, what?" And their reactions,
Yeah.
those were all completely legitimate reactions.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, they were. Oh, I need to respeak. They were supposed to be. They filmed it, but they were too genuine to the point where like they would cuss and they would say things like,
Oh, bleep, bleep.
"Yeah." And so then they had to refilm it, and they were like, "Kids, go back. You can't cuss. Like you have to like just make this legitimate. That was perfect, but you have to do this.
Oh,
we need to set up the shot a
no.
little differently, and you have to keep it clean." for
I
the
would have
most part.
loved to have seen that.
So they came back in, and then so it still pretty much was the same reaction,
sure,
but it wasn't
but-
the exact first
oh,
time.
man.
But
that should be in the outtakes.
yeah.
The first time.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
beep, beep. I bet it was Mouth. Corey
Of
Feldman.
course, Corey
you know
Feldman.
It was him.
Thought he was such a big deal. He killed Jason. After the movie, though, they tried to keep it together, and like they were
pirate
they were
ship?
trying to figure out, do we store it in some big warehouse? Like, what is there any
God, do we
movies
use
coming
it
up
for
that we
another
could?
pirate movie?
That could have happened with it.
Anything.
And there were no takers,
Oh.
and so they
wow.
destroyed it.
Oh. Oh, sad.
Nobody wanted it.
Gosh, I feel like that would have been a good chunk of your budget.
Mm-hmm.
Holy.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Really cool.
I'm impressed.
So they filmed this thing almost entirely in sequence, which I think is really crazy. That's something the movies didn't do a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
around this time.
Sure.
But almost the entire thing is done in sequence. And the last week of shooting, they're filming, just kind of the conclusion scenes of the film. And the kids start. Well, for one thing, in that last scene when the parents come in, those are a lot of them are their actual parents of the actors, which is pretty sweet.
Oh,
that's a cool little Easter egg. But
it's fun.
Also, during the last week, the kids start being huge dicks to Donner. Like they had always kind of been douches on set, you know, like just about in general not behaving.
Yeah.
But they started to be actively mean to the director. And he could not figure out what was going on. He was like, I thought I had a pretty good relationship with a lot of these kids, and they're being such little assholes right now. And the shooting concludes, and the kids all leave or whatever, and nothing has changed. Like there's still like nobody thanks him. They all just kind of like walk away, and they're all just kind of dicks. A week after shooting, he goes to Hawaii to celebrate the end of the shoot, and he is taken, like somebody pretends that something is wrong, and they take him all around the island, and they like keep him away for like an entire afternoon from his house. And when he comes back, there is Steven Spielberg with all the kids, and they're all there to like surprise him for the awesome job that they all did. And it was all a trick to make them think that they all hated him, but really they're there to celebrate all this stuff. And it's one of those things that I was like, and it was all done by Spielberg. Spielberg was the mastermind behind it. But part of me was like, okay, that's really cool that you have like this one night party, and all the kids were like, oh, I'm so sorry we had to be so mean to you. It was Steven's idea and all this stuff. But part of me is like, a week's worth of shooting, when stuff is stressful, you're wrapping up. These are your last moments together. You think these are the most heartfelt moments of the shoot, and here the kids are being assholes. And then they come a week later for a party, and they're like, hey, it was all a joke. I would be like, the juice is not worth the squeeze on this one. Like
absolutely.
this, I did not like you guys.
Get out of here. I'm still upset with you.
I'm still mad at you.
Get out. You guys were brats.
Yep. Yeah. So kind of a cool surprise, but at the same time, I think I would have just rather had the kids. I'm thinking like our kids that we used to direct, if they were just kind of assholes to us for the whole last week when things are so stressful, and then like a week later they had this big surprise. They're like, it was a joke. I'd be like, not worth it, kids.
Not funny.
I would have rather had you just be nice to me in the moment.
For sure. I always think that that's like kind of like an overrated tactic to downplay it. And if you do, then usually the surprise is at the end of the day. It's not 2 weeks later in Hawaii.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely.
That doesn't make any sense. Steven, you missed the mark on that one, buddy.
So, the film released on June 7th, 1985, which is Goonies Day.
Oh, yeah?
June 7th.
June 7th. Hey!
Yeah, it took you long enough. You little turd.
Okay, well, to be fair, I did pull up my phone because I was just like looking through my notes to make sure there wasn't something that I needed to jump in. Well, I just want to make sure that I just didn't miss anything. June 7th, what's that day? That sounds special. That sounds like a beautiful day of the year. Maybe perfect and 72 degrees and sunny mostly. And yeah, it sounds nice.
June 7th is our wedding anniversary.
Yes.
So our anniversary, Rach, is on Goonies Day. So the fact that you hate this movie is especially hurtful. I
don't hate this movie. I will get into it, but I don't hate it.
Awesome. So the film cost $19 million. It made $9 million.
Wait, what? 19 million?
Yeah.
For the pirate ship?
Dude, that pirate ship was sweet, bro. And a water slide.
And a water slide. The water slide. Yeah, okay. Yep. That makes sense. That's probably low ball.
Yeah. And like the contraption to open Sean Astin and Josh Brolin's front door.
Yeah.
That had to cost at least a couple $100.
What do we call that?
I call it the mousetrap game.
No, it's called a Rube Goldberg.
A Rube Goldberg.
Rube Goldberg. It's when one little thing leads to the next, and then
series of events.
Little series of events.
Mousetrap ball the game. Hits the thing, and then the balloon blows up, and it makes the chicken cuckoo, and it drops an egg into a barrel, and kicks the door open. Yeah.
So many.
Very fun. So yeah, it was $19 million. It made $9 million of those dollars on opening weekend, and it made $61 million overall. So it was a hit. It wasn't a smash hit, though.
Smash.
It kind of became a cult classic after the fact. It was behind Rambo 2 First Blood. Have you ever seen it?
No.
You actually have seen parts of it.
I haven't even seen Rambo 1.
Oh, Rambo 1.
Is there a Rambo 1?
You know what's funny?
Do we call it Rambo 1?
People are going to get mad at me because Rambo 1's like actually like a quality film.
The better movie.
But Rambo 2 is the one I've seen more. And Rambo 2 is when I think he goes to Korea. And he goes on a bloodbath. He just destroys everybody.
Oh, Stallone.
It's wild. So, Rambo 2.
Roid rage.
Rambo 2 is quite the film. And who knows? It might show up on Summer's Off someday.
Oh,
so
boy.
get
We
ready.
can only hope.
We do so many Arnold movies. I feel like we got to balance it out with some Stallones.
We gotta balance it with some Stallone.
Yeah.
Italian Stallion.
Yeah. Maybe we should pick a Rocky movie.
Mm.
So, Rotten Tomatoes gave this movie a 75%.
Mm-hmm.
Here's its consensus. And I think you're going to think this is pretty accurate.
Okay.
Maybe the score, you're going to make it lower, but it says The Goonies is an energetic, sometimes noisy mix of Spielbergian sentiment and funhouse tricks that will appeal to kids and nostalgic adults alike.
That is very apt.
Yeah.
Yep.
Time Magazine, though, says The Goonies is a hip, sassy, innocent as it's as hip, sassy, and innocent as its 7 teenage heroes. And then there's tons of like Indiana Jones for kids reviews, like I mentioned before.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that all mixes with what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fair to say, too. Like, as a nostalgic adult, had I seen this as a kid, I think I would feel differently about it. I think I would care more about this film. But the fact that I didn't, it just makes this film... Here's the word. Are you ready for it?
Oh, gosh. Wait, I think we should take a pause for the cause.
Oh, okay.
I think I need a second to get ready for what you're about to say. This is just like Mortal Kombat. When you said you'd rather watch the Street Fighter movie than the Mortal Kombat movie.
I'm sorry.
Let's get into all your hot takes.
Yeah.
After the break.
Okay.
This week's promotional consideration is paid for by the following. Booty traps. You thought Duluth Trading Company fit you like a glove? Try booty traps. So snug it'll make you want to say...
Hey, you guys!
All right, Rach. I've tried not to get my booty traps in a twist. Or in a bunch, or whatever the phrase is. Booty traps in a bunch. I'm ready to hear your hottest of hot takes.
Well, do you have any... I mean, I know we'll get into...
I have other trivia things and stuff, but...
You want to get into my stuff now?
Okay, let me just... Maybe it'll come up. Let's just get through a couple things.
Yeah, let's keep talking.
All right. What rating do you think this movie is?
Well, you just told me. It's 75%.
No. What TV rating?
Oh.
Or movie rating?
Well, I think they gave it a PG, but maybe they gave it a G. Who knows? It was the late 80s. But it should probably be PG-13
For
now.
sure.
They should re-rate it.
It was rated PG, and the word shit is said 19 times.
Oh my
19 times. But there's one character who doesn't say it, but they spell it out instead. Did you catch that?
No.
So
What is
Data
that? Oh,
promised his
yeah.
mom when she read the script that he wouldn't say it. And so when he's falling into the pit of spikes at one point in the movie, he is instead of saying the word like he was supposed to, he goes S-H-I-T.
That's
Just
so
spells
funny.
it out. Yeah,
Oh, that's
which is
really
great.
cute.
Absolutely wonderful.
Wow, I missed that.
Yep.
Adorable.
Now, there's another moment in the movie where Sean Astin, instead of calling his brother Brand, which is his name, calls him Brolin on accident. I didn't catch it, though. And I was even trying to listen for it. But he even goes, Brolin, which I think is pretty awesome.
I did not catch it either.
We talked about the Gremlins bit. So Gremlins, I told you about how people think this movie's in like a Gremlins universe. They're like, ooh, it's part of the DC universe, the Marvel universe. It's part of the Gremlins universe. So that's pretty spicy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the pirate ship that floats away at the very end of the movie, it's on the water. Yeah, it's a miniature.
Okay.
And so that's not the actual pirate ship.
Okay.
But the miniature on it had as it'll allude to other filmmakers and also Spielberg's producing of Star Wars, had a very tiny R2-D2 sculpted into it.
What?
Fun little fact that I guess if you look really close, you can kind of make out, but I
so
feel like there's
random.
no way you would, because that sounds impossible. There was a moment at the end of the movie. This is when all the parents have come down, which is funny because they're their real parents, and I mentioned. Most of them are anyway.
Yeah.
And there was Data was going into a story about something that doesn't make sense. Did you catch it?
No.
He says, I kind of was talking like right before it, and so I think you might have missed it. But they were like talking about walking the plank. They were talking about some of the crazy things that happened. But Data goes, yeah, we got attacked by this octopus, and then we escaped.
Yes, I did
you
hear
catch
him
that?
say octopus, and I was like, what?
That is a deleted scene.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
So they had this moment with this octopus conflict.
Oh, no.
But that is not in the movie, and they kept that line still. So,
Oops.
yep. Now, in the book,
Hold on. I can't imagine like another scene that would be like great. Like they go through so many trips and things, and adding an octopus in there.
It would have had to have happened in a big enough body of water, like with a pirate ship.
Yeah.
And so it was like after they flew down the water slide, then an octopus attacks them.
Yeah, I don't know when else the one would come up unless it's like at the very end and it. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Oh, bizarre.
That was a good cut.
Hey, we don't need the octopus.
Cut the octopus.
Now, the book, there's a book of the Goonies, which you're going to add to your reading list. That's a great question. I don't know. But this is a movie. We're going to pretend it was before, so I can say one of my movies was based on a book.
I doubt it.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was after. But in the book, Chunk's parents adopt Sloth, which they kind of already talk about at the end, which I love that moment. I love you, Chunk. Baby Ruth. So they adopt Sloth, and then they throw him a bar mitzvah, so he becomes Jewish.
Oh, yeah.
Which is really cute.
I was picking up on that Chunk says something.
Oh, does he? I missed it.
Yeah, about being Jewish. I can't remember. What does he say? I don't know if he talks about Hare Krishna or something like that. He says something that's like, oh, are you Jewish?
Oh, was it when he was telling stories to the Fratellis?
Yeah, that might have been.
Oh, okay.
Because he wouldn't have had a bar mitzvah yet, but it was something like that. I was like, are you Jewish?
I just remember one of the things he said. He says he steals his uncle's toupee and wears it. No, this might have been it. Yes. And he wears it as a beard to play Joseph in his Hebrew.
In his Hebrew school.
Hebrew school play.
Or Moses.
Yeah, or Moses.
No, Joseph.
Yeah.
That's
that would be.
Could be First Testament, different Joseph.
Yeah. So they've had talks about doing a sequel forever for Goonies. Yep.
Yeah.
And I feel like now you'd have to almost make it the original Goonies kids. And they would go on an adventure, I don't know if you can get the old Goonies together. It feels like they're too old maybe to go on an adventure. Mm-hmm. But I don't know, maybe. But Donner, the director, and Sean Astin, they say this is definitely going to happen. It's got enough support. People are so into retro stuff and like revisiting the past that they say it's going to happen. And Spielberg, since I did it earlier, I almost said Spielberg. He wants to do it too. He's totally on board.
Yeah.
And two entities that are not. Corey Feldman has no desire to be anything a part of it. Says he does not want anything to do with it, which is funny because I'm like, Feldman, what are you doing?
That's exactly what I was
You're
thinking.
Doing nothing with your life.
What are you doing right now?
You're a joke in Hollywood. Why would you not want to be a part of Goonies? Like, this could be huge to get you back in the game, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the other thing is, and this is what's going to stop it, Warner Brothers has no desire to do a sequel.
Oh.
So I guess Warner Brothers has no desire to make money.
No money. They don't want to make any money.
Which is interesting. I don't know.
It would make so much money. Yeah. Good or bad, for better or worse, it would make a lot of money.
For sure.
It would probably cost a lot, but it would also make a lot.
Uh-huh.
So,
and people are so into like kids adventure stories and stuff, like even though Stranger Things and It, they were horror related, but people are into those movies right now.
Those are having a really big heyday for sure.
Yeah.
So all of those I feel like pay homage to this, which is what I really appreciate about this movie, is that this is kind of, for what I can remember, like a jumping off point for a lot of these new TV shows that we love that are focused on kids and grown up and It and Stranger Things.
Yep.
Love it.
Yep, for sure. For sure. All right. I'm going to set down the iPad. Let's talk about it.
I told you things that I love. So
let's get fired up.
You seem like you're already fired up.
Oh, I've been tense the entire time.
I know. I shouldn't have warned you before coming in here. I should have just hit you with it. Just like Mortal Kombat.
Hated it. Wish we were watching Street Fighter. Hey, we're going to watch Street Fighter so bad if you want to watch it. It's going to be horrible.
But in a fun way.
No. Sometimes, but mostly just terrible.
Right. So, some of the things I loved the focus on the kids. I love the bike rides. I love when kids get to ride their bikes around town all together and go have an adventure. I think that's so fun. I think.
Did you ever do that as a kid?
No, because I never lived anywhere that I could do that.
Oh,
I either
that's
lived
such a
on too
bummer,
busy of a
Rach.
street or I lived on top of a hill. Yeah, it just wasn't a big good bike riding thing. So seeing this, I can see why this really extra pulls at your heartstrings.
I rode my bike everywhere.
That was your childhood. And
Yes.
so to you, that is super nostalgic. So I love that. Had I seen this as a kid, I think I would appreciate this more. But I also think about other kids' movies that I just think... Okay, and this is okay. Is this a safe place? I need to know that this is a safe space.
This is a safe space.
Listeners, I need to know that this is safe. This is not. You need to turn this off right now if you're worried about us being friends anymore.
Well, for one thing, let's take a pause for the cause and reflect on all the hot takes I make. Every week I say something that offends at least 50% of our audience.
That's true. All right, I'm just gonna be brave.
I've attacked the Italians. I've attacked the Irish. I've attacked Meryl Streep. I've attacked so many groups.
This is true.
You're in a very safe space.
All right.
I would love it if you get blowback, and I've never gotten any blowback.
I probably will, and that's fine because I get it that this is a very beloved childhood movie. I get it, but I just have other childhood movies that I think are better than this.
Ooh, okay. Keep talking, but I want to hear what movies you think are better than this.
Yeah,
and we'll debate.
I think I'll just get into it.
Yeah, for sure.
So movies that I just think are better structured and better written are movies like Matilda. I like Home Alone.
Okay.
Stand By Me.
Stand By Me is excellent.
All
Sandlot's
of those,
wonderful.
to me, in my opinion, I like them better than this movie.
So, okay.
Oh.
I disagree with you big time on Matilda. I think Matilda is cute, but I don't think Matilda's even in the same conversation as the Goonies.
It's based off of a book.
I know.
It's Roald
and
Dahl.
I've read it, and I like Roald Dahl. But like that, I know. It's just a preference thing. But to me, Matilda is not even in the ballpark of those other movies you listed.
Well,
what else did you list?
You're
you listed
not
Home Alone?
You're not a little girl who wished that she had superpowers and she could have telepathy with her mind. So maybe
that's true.
That was very nostalgic for me.
I'm a little boy who wants to go on adventures and kiss older girls and find gold. Yeah,
maybe
that's true.
I would stare at things and be like, "Come on, move, come on."
Did you do that?
A little bit.
See, and I think Sandlot is so directly influenced by this movie that to me, this is the precursor, and Stand By Me.
Yes.
And that impacts Sandlot, that it's just a maturation process. So I think that Sandlot just learned things from Goonies.
I think it learned a lot of things from Goonies. I think it learned, you get kids who maybe don't run the show on the show because it felt like I was stressed watching it sometimes, and I know it's just kids being kids, just talking, but a part of me was thinking in the director's position, how do I just reel them in? I can't hear any of the lines, kids, because you're all shouting them at the same time. The energy, it's not relaxing. It was. It made me anxious.
Well, that's good. It's an adventure movie. It's supposed to make you nervous.
That's probably that. So, yeah.
Hey, by the way, can I just make a pause?
Yes.
I'm still ashamed that when we talked about our favorite baseball movies last week, I didn't mention Sandlot, which was a movie that I probably watched just as much as Goonies as a kid. And I never mentioned that movie, which is kind of blasphemous.
I know.
I'm ashamed about it.
You're going to have to live with that for the rest of your life.
Well,
just like I'm going to have to live with this.
I hope everybody listens to this episode.
Well, I hope not, because I'm going to lose some friends. So another piece. I don't feel that the story is well constructed. I just
Okay.
It's just I don't know. It's just so fantastical, and it's so. Oh yeah, and then we put this key here, and then this goes here. Oh, look at this doubloon. If I hold it up here, it looks like it's just so far fetched.
You know what's funny is
it just
you
needs
think
a little
that,
bit more reality.
But
to
one
it.
movie I know that you love is National Treasure, which does the same exact thing, only they're old ass people doing it. And I'll be honest, that's what annoys me about that movie. Which there's a hot take. National Treasure is stupid.
How dare you?
It's entertaining.
How dare you?
It's entertaining.
It's smart.
But it's entertainingly stupid.
No.
It's
very smart.
Oh my gosh, what is this little symbol? They're like, oh, that symbol goes to here. Oh my gosh, it matches up perfect.
But at least there's a story with it. What is this Spanish pirate ship doing in Oregon? That makes no sense.
Sean Astin told you.
Yeah, he tried to tell me. I couldn't quite follow him.
Well, that's because he was regurgitating the story that Downer told him.
It was a story told by a 7th grader. You're like, well, okay, yeah. Okay, sure.
Hey, by the way, we did get a review once that said they wanted more conflict. So this is for you, reviewer.
This is for you.
This is for
Here's
you.
the conflict. The slapstick humor. I mean, it's there. It's fine. It's a kids movie, but
That
I kind of want a little bit.
the sound
higher.
effect with the punch with Data, when Data hits the boxing glove and it punches one of the bad guys and it makes one of the stupid noise effects. That's my least favorite part of the whole movie.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
it just doesn't fit with anything. There's no other little slapsticky sound effect.
Yeah.
Like
But there's more slapstick humor, though.
no, for sure, but there's nothing like as blatant as like you know what I mean? Like,
That's a really good sound effect. Bang.
That's the one part that really sticks out to me. But so you didn't like the oil on the log when the guys flip up
Slippery
and
shoes.
hit their crotches on the log.
Yeah, because crotch punches are just so classic.
Hey,
Again, I watched this when I was 20.
here's what I'll say.
I was a woman.
Arcellino has been doing that to Dottore since Commedia dell'arte was invented.
Oh, God.
Arlecchino's.
Are you getting your masters?
I don't know if you've heard. I'm getting my masters.
All right, and the last critique I have of this, which is probably the most painful one, and you probably
Oh no.
aren't gonna agree with this, but
You didn't think the girl was cute.
no, she's cute. She's super cute.
Okay, yeah.
I think what the movie is missing for me, Sean Astin pulls it a little bit with his relationship with One-Eyed Willie, but I don't know, where's the heart? I don't feel like there's a lot of heart in this. He's got these motivational speeches. There's like little moments with the brother, but there's like, where's the tear-jerk moment where I'm like, yeah, you guys, friends are great. Like there's no, I don't know. I'm not invested in it like I am in movies or TV shows like It or Stranger Things.
Yep.
Like I care about those kids and their relationships, and I feel like there's something in the writing that's missing for these kids.
No, you know what I think it is?
What is
That's
it?
actually, that's not a bad piece of criticism. Because
you.
you're right. Sean
appreciate you.
Astin does it and Josh Brolin does it. They both have those moments.
There are moments,
but
I want
here's
more.
what's missing. What's missing is other characters also having those moments and now being on board. I think that's what's missing is they're too passive and they all just watch whoever's making these speeches and they're all just like, yeah, and they just kind of agree and go along with it rather than contributing to the life force that is this friendship and this journey. I think that they're too much like trying to flesh out like these personalities rather than just investing in coming along on the adventure too.
Yeah, or thinking like, what's the next slapsticky thing? Let's break this. Let's break the penis off of this David thing. Like, let's if the statue gets broken at the beginning. Like,
yep.
There's like so much time spent on just the goofiness.
Hey, that is funny. I think it's really funny. So the penis breaks off the statue. They try to glue it on. They glue it on upside down. And Josh Brolin goes, if it was shaped like God made you like that, you'd be pissing in your faces.
I'll be honest.
I thought it was so funny.
I thought
still being a 12-year-old boy. I was like, hilarious.
Here's it. That was actually kind of witty. I think that was kind of witty. That was much wittier than like, oh, slippery shoes or
yeah,
so
sure.
like, yeah, I don't know.
That's your mom's favorite part. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be born.
Yeah, okay,
that
there
was
you
funny
go.
too.
No,
I love them. They're
yeah.
so funny.
Gosh. It's a great movie
for little
boys. It's a great movie for little boys and little girls too. I shouldn't say it's not just a little boy movie, but for those younger, I get it. But this does not hold a soft spot for me in my heart of hearts. I appreciate it. I think it's fresh. It's not rotten for me. I'll say that. It's not rotten, but it's not a childhood classic for me.
Okay.
Does that make you feel? Do you feel better about this? Do you feel how betrayed are you on a scale of 1 to 10?
Well, I mean, you rated Mortal Kombat rotten.
Yeah.
With great fight scenes. Can we go back and think about how great those fight scenes are?
I feel so justified in that.
No,
so like, let's
absolutely
go to toe on that one.
Great
again.
one-liners, great fight scenes. Those are $500 sunglasses, asshole. Like amazing, amazing. This is the part where you fall down. So great.
It's like the adult version of. This is where you fall down.
Oh, Johnny Cage is the best in that movie. So yeah, we don't have to rehash that. But I was more hurt by that and more hurt by your Street Fighter comment over Mortal Kombat than Goonies. I still feel like I understand where you're coming from with Matilda over Goonies, but it's so flabbergastingly crazy in my mind, like that movie would be considered higher than Goonies. I just can't comprehend it.
Yeah. I would be curious at critically what Matilda does over this. I think critically Matilda probably does better than Goonies.
Next week we'll
Let's
divulge that
find
information.
out, yes.
Something to eat.
Wait, what'd you say?
Something to eat.
Let's find out.
So we watched Atonement in Garden State also in the last 24 hours.
Don't you bring this up.
And what are you afraid I'm gonna say?
I know what you're going to say. You're going to tell everyone what I thought of the two, and you're going to tell which one I rated higher than the other one.
No, I wasn't. I actually wasn't.
Oh, great. Now I'm going to have to tell everyone because I just brought it up.
Yeah, now you are.
Oh.
But I thought this movie is better than Atonement, which was up for an Oscar.
You're crazy. You're crazy.
But I like Atonement. I like Atonement. It was really good. The first half of Atonement, I think, is excellent. And I think it kind of loses its mark a little bit, and then it gets really good at the end.
Yeah,
but,
I can see that. It gets a little slow.
But Goonies is a classic.
A classic does not make it a better movie.
Sure.
Being a classic, I'll say it one more time for the people in the back, does not make it a good movie either. Just because it's a classic doesn't mean it's good. We can all attest to that.
Well, do you want to tell everybody what movie you liked?
Yeah, okay. So Ty asked me, we within 24 hours, we watched Garden State and Atonement, and I love both movies. I do.
They're both really good.
And I hadn't seen either in a long, long time.
We had both only seen each movie once, and it was back when we were in college.
And I think the writing in Garden State is better.
Terrific.
I think the acting is better in Garden State, and I love it as a standalone story.
Yep.
But I said, as a movie, because of what Atonement does and how it tells that story, and I won't spoil it for anybody, but just like the switch in that one or the surprise in that one is so good that I put that movie above Garden State.
And Goonies.
And, well above Goonies. Well
just
above
crazy.
Goonies.
And I think Goonies is better than Garden State as well, but it's close.
Oh my gosh. You're so blinded by your childhood.
Oh, maybe.
Which is fine.
Hey.
Because I have a lot of movies that I love that I'll watch them again. And I'm like, it's not a good movie, but I love it
This will be fun.
It's okay.
So I promise, we've been saying every week that we're going to do certain things on the Facebook page, and I actually got my pictures to post. Rach, I don't think has gotten hers yet.
No.
But I got my pictures to post, so I will post those on the Facebook page for the last 2 weeks of horrible hair decision and a kid's sports photo. And I recommend you guys do the same. That'd be awesome. But for this week, I think that you guys should all go on the Facebook group and tell us what your Goonies score would be.
Oh.
And for fun, compare it to other movies that we've just talked about. Matilda, Sandlot, what else did you mention? Stand By Me, Garden State, Atonement. Probably you don't have to do those two. But maybe give us a breakdown of what you guys thought. Yeah. Might be kind of fun.
I stand by my unpopular opinion. I know that I'm in the wrong here. I get it.
No,
everyone.
You're not in the wrong.
I have the unpopular opinion, but
it might be unpopular.
It's my opinion.
Just like Meryl Streep's overrated. It's an unpopular opinion, and I own it, but it's not wrong. I believe it's right.
Yeah, just like that.
All right, go ahead and give me your review and your rating.
Well, now I want to have my review like Meryl Streep. This movie is.
Oh, here, by the way, I'll just tell you what my score is. My score is an 88%, which is 1% above My Girl.
Oh, okay.
Yep. Because I would rather watch this movie again than My Girl.
A movie
but it's
that
close.
has so much heart. And
My Girl's
I cry
great.
several times in it, and the writing is good. And,
I started to tear up when they're at the wishing well. I tear up in Goonies.
You tear up at the wishing well?
When they're talking about, this is our time down here.
You tear up in that speech?
Yeah, I think it's beautiful.
Okay. That's probably, I told you that's my favorite part of the movie. But
good.
I don't know if it's tear up worthy enough.
No, it's good.
Your tears are not worthy.
All right, you slacker.
Here we go. Here we go. Here it is. All right. Like a Rube Goldberg machine. That's the mousetrap machine for those of you who don't remember. There's this movie has tons of them in it. All right, let me start over so I don't have to re-explain this. Like a Rube Goldberg machine, this movie has many twists and turns with a lot going on, but little reward in the end. 65%.
What do you mean they saved their house with the pirate gems?
I want to cry at the end of a movie like this. I want to be like, yeah, brothers, or like, yeah, friends. I'm just like, all right, there, the end.
You gave it 65?
And then Cyndi Lauper comes on singing that song all loud.
Hey, we're going to listen to a little bit of that song, and we're going to sing a little bit on the way out.
That sounds good.
All right, sweet.
So... there it is. I've said my piece. I'll have you know that before we got into this, I Googled these two words together, Goonies overrated, and I have a lot of people in my corner. I'll have you know, there are many message boards that also talk about, like, why is this movie as popular? I don't get it. And a lot of people say, like, I watched this as an adult, and I don't understand why people are crazy about this movie.
Oh, my gosh.
So I just... know that when everyone decides not to be my friend anymore, that I will find some friends out there.
You have a lot of friends out there still.
I didn't say a lot, but there are a few out there that
wow.
we can commiserate over are like just not really quite getting it. Like, okay, I mean, it's good, but it's like, it's just not like any of those other movies that I talked about. So.
Wowza.
I know.
That's so wild.
I know.
Hey, you are entitled to your opinion. It's a lovely opinion. I don't agree with it at all, but it is really fun to talk about.
Who do you think's going to be the most disappointed in my opinion?
I can't remember if my
Who
buddy
loves this
Paul
movie?
just told me that this is in his top 10 or not.
Oh,
I think he
bet
mentioned
it
it,
is.
but I don't remember if it was in his top 10.
Okay.
So if he has it there, he's going to be upset with you for sure.
I don't think any of my siblings will be upset because they, similar to me, I don't think they grew up watching this.
Yeah,
maybe my little brother, but otherwise I don't think so.
I will be fascinated to find out what some of your siblings thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or like even my sibling, like Trev. I don't know what he'll think because it was kind of out of his age bracket.
Mm-hmm.
He might be have seen it, but I don't know if he has the attachment to it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really interesting. Have fun with your Goonie hating friends. That's awesome. You guys will have a good time.
Oh, you know who's gonna be mad? The Keels.
Oh, Tim and Carrie Keel, our buddies from the cities.
I'm sorry, you guys. I love you so much.
Well,
no, they love this movie.
you hurt people with your opinion sometimes. Hey, remember how much we hurt people with Notting Hill?
Yes.
People,
yes, this is gonna
people
be like
are
that
still
again.
healing from Notting Hill. We have one of your sister's boyfriends is still. Like, I think it's still a little hurt, and I love you, Cullum, but I feel like he's just a tiny bit hurt by what we said, and I apologize.
It's fair.
But,
everyone's entitled to their hurt and their pain and their, disinterest in certain movies.
So, very fun. Well, next week, we have one more fun little bonus episode, and then we'll take a couple weeks off and gear up for the actual season
real summer.
Of going back
I don't know
to.
if you guys know this. It's not summer yet.
It's not.
It feels like it, but it's not.
Yep, not quite. So we'll go back to our original format of showing each other movies we've never seen before.
Yep.
And I wanted to do something that's different, though.
Mm-hmm.
We recently completed the show Friday Night Lights.
Yes.
And we're going to do our first TV show podcast.
Wow.
So we have 5 seasons worth of stuff to cover, which I'm going to try to not do it with spoilers, but that's going to be really hard. And so
hard.
I will warn you if you want to listen to it, that if you haven't seen the show and you plan on watching it, like I'll be like, hey, this is probably a part where you want to stop the podcast already.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll probably be 2 minutes in, but I think it's worth doing a deep dive on. I think it's just a fascinating show. It's one of the best shows ever, and I think we should kind of go into it.
Yeah, I think that'll be a fun little mix-up, something different.
Yeah.
To end our random quarantine edition.
Yeah. So yeah, hopefully these have been fun for you and you're making it through COVID madness. And we can't wait to talk to you next week.
Next week. All right. See ya. Hope we're still friends.
Rach, there is a Goonies oath.
Okay.
I'm going to show it to you right now. We're both going to say it into the microphone.
I don't know that I want
It's
to
here
be
on the bottom.
Oath.
So this is the Goonies oath. This was a scene that was cut from the movie, and they say this oath.
Okay.
I would like to say it with
We're
you,
just
okay?
going to read it verbatim now without even proofing it?
Yep, for sure.
All right, here we go.
I will never betray my goon deck friends. We'll stick together until the whole world ends. Through heaven and hell and nuclear war, good pals like us will stick like tar.
Wait, what?
In the city or the country or the forest or the boonies, I am proudly declared a fellow Goonie. There's your heart, Goonies.
They shouldn't have cut that scene.